Hi, Kate. How are ya? Hi, Ashley. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll say a prayer for your mom. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Cindy. Long time no see. Hi, Laura. Get your questions ready. I need questions so we have something to discuss. Hi, Denise. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Kelly. Ashley asks that we all pray for her mom. She's in ICU. We pray that she wakes up and makes a full recovery. Hi, Pam. So come on, kids, let's get this party started. How about a question? Hi, Heather. My niece just logged on. Hi, Susan. Hi, Jane. Can everybody see me okay? Hi, Joni. My son just said I'm frozen on the screen. Can everybody see me? Just write yes if you can see me, please. Somebody. Hi, Evelyn. Okay, you can see me. Can you hear me? Okay, good. You hear me with no problem? Hi, Joni. Okay, yes, you can see me, but can you hear me? Yes, yes. Okay, good. Brief high pitch. My is that spirit trying to? Okay, Kay asks. She said sometimes she gets a brief high pitch in her ear. Is that spirit trying to let us know they are near? Yeah, a lot of people get, like, I have ringing in my ears, and I know when I do readings, the ringing gets really intense sometimes, especially right before my readings, and spirit steps in. So people get different sensations when they're connecting with spirit. And I always tell them it's all energy. You know, sometimes people will say, a lot of mediums will say that their heart will begin to race a little bit, or You know, sometimes they get a little breathless, and that's all, you know, part of it. But again, that's that left brain, you know, when we start to get different sensations or understand that spirit's stepping in, sometimes our nerves get the better of us and it wakes the left brain up a little bit, because you really should be very comfortable when you're doing your readings. They don't have the ability to cause us any pain. You know how I feel about possession. I don't believe that spirit energy has the ability to jump into anybody's body. I believe that possession is addiction, you know, drug addiction, alcoholism, whatever, food addiction, whatever. But that's a choice that we have. It's all about free will. But I do not believe, never have, never will, that spirit has the ability to jump into anybody's body. It just doesn't work that way. Close lately. Okay, Kelly asks, I have a spirit that's been close lately. Is it my dad? Well, if you meditate, Kelly, you could find that out yourself. If you're not a practicing medium, if you don't study mediumship, you can actually just go into private meditation, set the intention before you go in that you would like to know who it is, you know, that's around you. And with your eyes closed, you should be able to see them. That's why I always recommend for people starting guided visual meditation, because when you do guided visual meditation, you go to YouTube, there's a million of them out there, and somebody will talk you through a journey. And while they're talking you, and maybe like when I give a meditation, I always bring people to the beach. I bring them to the beach, and I help them open up their five senses, which is seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, taste, and smell. Taste and smell, we count as one. That's clear gushions. And I'll say, you know, I'll ask them to close their eyes. I'll tell them to relax their bodies, and then I will tell them to feel the warm sand beneath their feet and feel the heat of the sun. You know, I always say it's a beautiful summer day, even if there's a blizzard outside. If you're in meditation, you can have a beautiful sunny day. And I tell them to feel those things. And by feeling, opening up their clairsentient. And then I tell them to listen and hear the rhythm of the waves, you know, hear an occasional seagull overhead. And there I'm opening up their clairaudient, you know, so and taste and smell the salt air of the ocean. That's clear gushing. So what I try to do is I try to work with all of their five main senses, which helps them become a clearer conduit to the world of spirit. And when you go on a guided visual meditation like that, you really do quiet down that left brain, because the left brain is very annoying. It's very easy to wake it up, especially when you're meditating like that. Okay, so Kelly, I would recommend that you, if you haven't been meditating, that you meditate, and you'd be able to get that answer yourself. You know, I said before, and anybody who knows me knows that most of my clientele are parents who have lost children, which is a very, very, very difficult passing. And I will encourage parents. I'll help them learn how to meditate and connect with spirit themselves, so that they have the ability to communicate with their own child. You know, you got to be careful, because there's a lot of charlatans out there that'll keep you coming again and again and again. You know, you can come once a week or once a month, and I tell them don't come back for a year, because just as we evolve on this side of the veil, they evolve on that side of the veil. So you know, it serves no purpose. It's just a money maker from a lot of the people, the charlatans out there. So you really should you know, try to, if you want to go to a good medium, make sure it's a spiritual evidential medium. Make sure they're very evidential, not about the psychic stuff, because I can tell you anything you want to know about the future, doesn't mean it's going to happen. You want evidence, you want proof that the medium is in fact connecting with your loved one. Okay, so again, I would recommend guided visual meditation, and I would suggest to anybody who's grieving right now or wants to connect with a loved one, you know, to try it. There's a very good meditation out there. I think it's called guided visual meditation, to meet with a loved one in spirit. And I often send that to people after I do a reading with them, and that helps them connect themselves. So that's what I would recommend. Hi, Whitney. How are you? Oh, thank you, Joni. Joni said she's excited for my guided visual meditation. I'm starting a once a month guided visual meditation. It's on my website, all the date. It's going to be I think it's the third Wednesday evening of each month. The third Wednesday evening of each month. It'll be from 8 to 9 o'clock. Hi, Kathleen. Kathleen lives right down the road from me, but we never get to see each other because of this wonderful pandemic. So I highly recommend meditation. I received an email during the week about somebody who wanted me to talk more about reincarnation. I touched on it a little bit last week. I think I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe it was one of my classes. I don't know. I do private mentoring also, so sometimes I get conversations mixed up with another conversation. But anyway, when I said they wanted to know if I believe in reincarnation at all, or I believe in it. I believe in it to a point. I believe that we have the ability to come back if we choose to. I believe if we do come back, it's for a higher purpose. I do not believe that we come back again and again and again and we're a male and we're a female, then we're an animal. I don't believe in that. I just don't. Me personally, I don't believe in it. My information that comes from spirit tells me that we can come back for a higher purpose. So I believe that people who are afflicted in this life, maybe the mentally and physically handicapped person, perhaps chose that to be born in this time in this body, understanding that we really don't learn anything in life through the good things that we go through. We learn our greatest lessons in life through the things that bring us to our knees, our own suffering or someone else's. So, that's my belief in reincarnation. So I do believe that people do come back if they choose to. I don't believe that everybody comes back. Denise, hi Denise. Denise, today I had an unfamiliar word just pop into my head randomly. I'm not sure what the word means yet for me, but I'm going to ask for guidance. I plan to meditate on it. Not a question, an observation. It was so interesting. Yeah, I never disregard what I get. Never. I know there's a lot of mediums that are out there that will say, never get information before you go into a reading. Never. Once you're in the reading, and it begins, then you bring information in. I have never done it that way. I always pray and meditate before the reading. I keep a journal handy. I get a lot of information that comes in, 2, 3, sometimes 4 pages of information before the people even come, because spirit knows who's coming. Their loved ones know who's coming. And they give me very, very, I'm thankful to God and spirit. They give me very, very accurate information. Usually the first thing that comes in for me is a name. But the way it comes into me is a thought. I am clairvoyant. I see spirit, and I'm clairaudient. I hear spirit. So people, misunderstand when you hear spirit and you say you're clairaudient, they think that you hear a voice. Now, sometimes I'll hear a voice, but 99% of the time, it's a thought that comes in. So if a word pops into my head and I'm meditating or getting ready for something, I'll write it down. Now, Denise, maybe you weren't getting ready for a reading. That word just popped into your head, but there's a reason why it popped into your head. So if I were you, I would just write it down in a journal and remember that word. So for me, because I do this work so often, I don't disregard anything that comes in. I write everything down. I keep a journal in my center. Sometimes it moves to the kitchen counter. Sometimes it moves to the bedroom. And if I'm busy doing so, I just write these words down as they come in. And they always fit for a reason, whether it has to do with me or it has to do with a reading that I'm going to be doing that day or the following day. It always seems to fit for me. So that's my feeling about when an unfamiliar word just pops in. And correct, what you can do is you can meditate. If you're not a reader yourself, you can certainly meditate and ask spirit to help you understand why that word came in. Kate says, free will makes predictions difficult to make. Free will. Well, I don't do predictions, so I really can't speak to that. I am, well, if you are a medium, then you do have psychic ability as well. All mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. That's the rule of thumb. That's what they say. I know I have a strong psyche, but not to tell you if you should sell your house, if you're going to meet somebody. It comes into me like if there's going to be, like I told my husband a few nights ago there was going to be a plane crash. I mentioned a number, and the next day when we woke up, there had been a plane crash during the night, and the number fit. So I get things like that. If a volcano or there's an eruption or the big tsunami, I feel that. And I say it to my husband, and I'll say it maybe to a cousin or a friend, and they'll just jot it down and remember. So, so I really can't address free will makes predictions difficult to make. I don't know how to speak to that, Kate. I know that there are a lot of mediums out there, very, very good mediums that are very good psychics. But when I say they're a very good psychic, they don't answer questions or bring in silly things like that. They'll give you really good guidance and advice, because they'll have a feel for what's lacking in your life, what you need in your life. So that type thing. Okay, let me see. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Danielle. Danielle says Danielle is one of my certified medium. She lives in California with her husband Joey, who is becoming very successful in the music industry. He is sexy too. That's not what I meant to say. He's becoming very successful in the music industry. It's very, very good. Joey Capo, if you want to look him up. Joey Capo, Capo. Look him up. He's really going places. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, come on, people. More questions. More questions. Hi, Pamela. Okay, so Denise writes, right before waking seems like a good time for me, for spirit to send messages. Does this happen to me? It's funny. I think it's when you get to the third REM of sleep. I believe that's what it is, the third REM of sleep. That's when the left brain completely shuts down and we astral travel. Now, whether people want to believe that or not, it makes no difference to me. My belief is that the soul steps out of the body when that left brain shuts down and we go into the next dimension, which we call heaven, and we are with our loved ones. And when the left brain begins to wake up again, the soul re-enters the body. So that might be what's happening to you. It might be that you are having visitations with a loved one and you stepped over on the other side, or it could be because nighttime, when the earth gets very quiet, everything quiets down, the animals go to sleep, the traffic isn't as loud, everything seems to quiet down. That's when, for many people, and of course the veil feels thinner at that time. It really isn't, but it feels thinner because everything's so quiet. So we're starting to relax, our body's relaxing, everything's relaxing. So we seem to have a stronger connection to the spirit world at that time. So I would say nighttime. Some people will say to me, oh, you can only really read at night. That's the only time I can read. No, you can read anytime, morning, noon, or night. Spirits don't only come out at night. They're out all the time. I'll do readings either 11 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 7 at night. So it doesn't matter. But I think and I think I shared last week, when I was a kid, I slept under the covers because when the lights would go out and the door would start to close and my mother would start to close that bedroom door, I could feel the energy. I could see and I could feel, and it frightened me because I didn't understand it. Back then, going to parochial school, this wasn't, you didn't shout this from the rooftops. This was something that you weren't supposed to do, even though they taught us to do it in Catholic school. Go figure. So anyway, that's probably what it is. Probably the veil for you is a little thinner at that time. Maybe you're more open to it at that time. But for me, it doesn't matter. Okay, Tom is asking, let me see, about exit points. Exit points. I'm not sure what exit points are. Could you explain that? I hear people speak about exit points. Your thoughts. Okay. Can you give a little more detail on exit points? If you're talking about chakras, portals, portals, we have many portals in our bodies, but the 7 main portals, or chakras as you call them, are the ones that are very important to take care of and work with when you're doing this work. So if that's what you're talking about, I'll wait to see if you bring me any more information. In the meantime, Adriana, sometimes I can smell smoke And I think it's my great grandmother. Is that possible? Absolutely, it's possible. When my grandmother makes her presence, as a medium, I don't have the ability to just meet with my loved ones in spirit. I can't just say, hey, grandma, step in. It doesn't work that way. We're never in control with who steps in from the world of spirit unless we go into private meditation and we take the time and request that this person come in. Okay. But as a medium doing this work, I don't have the ability to do that. So, sometimes I'll sit in my center and I wish that I had the opportunity to see my own loved ones more, but it doesn't happen that way. But when my grandmother steps in, who I was very close to, the only way I sense her is by smelling lilacs, because lilacs were her favorite flower. So, and that's when I'll say, hi, grandma. I'll say it out loud because I know she's around, only because of that smell of lilacs. So certainly, if you can smell cigarette smoke, it is possible that your great grandmother is around. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Joni wants to know if pets see spirit. Yes, animals have no veil. Okay, first of all, animals have souls. And I've gone head to head with several priests about this very topic. Animals have souls. They're actually some of our greatest gifts from our Creator. And they have souls. They will greet us when we pass over, those that we've loved and lost. And they have no veil, just like children under 2.5 um, don't really seem to have a veil between worlds, so they see very clearly. If you have a little one, a baby, and you have mobiles hanging over their cribs, and you have stuff all over the walls and hanging from the ceiling, and they'll be looking at a clear space where nobody is. That's because they're probably seeing maybe a relative that's passed in spirit. So for animals and for little ones, there is no veil. So they certainly do. And I will say to people, if you want to know if your loved one's around, just watch your pets if you have any pets in the house, and watch, and you'll see by the way they act and react that there's a spirit around. Okay, Kathy wants to know what it means when you smell a certain scent every now and then, and sometimes very strong, sometimes light, being the same exact scent. Well, like I just explained, it could be a loved one. So what does the scent mean to you? Does it remind you of somebody? What does it mean to you? Could be a message from spirit. Remember that spirit works with us very symbolically. This does not work the way they show it on television. Doesn't work that way at all. On television, they make it look like you can have a two-way conversation with spirit, and it doesn't work that way. There's a veil between worlds. So we have to learn as true mediums to raise our own vibration. And we can only do that through prayer and meditation. It's vitally important, if you want to do this properly, that you have a strong relationship with God, that you have a strong love of God and faith in God, because this is a gift from God. And if you're going to use it, you have to embrace it and you have to nurture it. Okay. All right, I'm trying to. It's all about smell. Kathleen smells burnt toast. I know that's my mom. Tom says, some mediums say your life is somewhat pre-planned along with times when you may transition. Well, I believe that we only take our final breath when it's God's time. I don't care how you pass. I don't care if it's murder, suicide, 5 years old, 95 years old. My belief is that we only take that final breath when it's God's time. So it serves no purpose for many people to agonize woulda, coulda, shoulda when a loved one passes. I believe when it's God's time, you will pass. I think we all have a time to be born, and I believe we all have a time to pass. I believe life begins at conception. I've always believed that, always will. So I do believe that. As far as being pre-planned along life's journey, again, I think it's free will. I think it's what we decide to do. We have to take personal, spiritualism always says, number one is that you have to take personal responsibility for your own actions, for your words, for your thoughts. And that to me is the life review, when we pass from this world, transition into the next. I believe that, we have to take personal responsibility for what our words and actions did to hurt someone else or hurt ourselves. That's the life review. I don't believe that God judges us at all. I think that we judge ourselves. I think we have to forgive ourselves. I don't believe in the fires of hell like we're taught to me in Catholic school and many others in Catholic school. I believe the fires of hell would be easier than fully comprehending what your words and actions did to hurt another, especially if you're really not a good person at all. You know, I always use the comparison. Imagine Hitler for the first time when he passed, stand before the Creator, and all of a sudden to have this life review, and for the first time fully understand what his words and actions did. I'm sure he would rather jump into the fires of hell a million times than understand what he truly did. So that's my belief. I hope. Okay, so those are the exit points. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Tom. Joni wants to know if I think it's normal to cry all the time after losing a soulmate. And she lost her soulmate after 33 years. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. Absolutely. Tears are healing. You know, there's no manual on grief. It really irks me when I hear some people say, you know, they've been grieving, you know, the husband's been gone for so long, or the daughter's been gone for 10 years. You have to stop grieving enough. No, nobody has a right to say that. There is no manual on grief. Everybody grieves in their own way, in their own time. On a personal note, I never go to the cemetery. My mother and father, I went right after they passed, make sure the stone was in place, make sure everything was right. Um, and that was it. I didn't go back. Now, that's not to say I'll never go back again. I'm sure I will, but I don't get, it doesn't comfort me to go to the cemetery. I know that that's not them, but that's not the reason why I don't go. It bothers me to go to the cemetery, so I don't go. That was the body that I loved and took care of me, and it doesn't make me feel good. So I know that I can connect with my parents myself, you know, through prayer and meditation, and ask them to give me little signs that they're around. But that's for me. But there are people who go every day to the cemetery, and I say to them, if that comforts you, that makes you feel good, then you do it. Whatever comforts you, you do. You listen to no one. You do what feels right to you. You do what feels right to you. The only thing I will say to you, for people who seem to grieve deeply and can't get past the grief, that's when it's good to learn how to meditate and learn how to connect. Learn how to connect with spirit yourself, so you can learn how to connect with your loved one. Nothing brings you more peace and healing than doing that yourself. Okay, so that would be my suggestion. But crying all the time, sure, you know, it's tears are healing. But maybe if you could learn how to, Joni, you know, meditate a little bit, and I'll send you the link when we get off. Joni's a childhood friend, so I will. Who we just hooked up again after so many years. I'll send you the link to that meditation, and that's the one I talked about before, guided visual meditation to meet with a loved one in spirit. It's an excellent, excellent meditation. Let's see. Lisa says, my grandmother. Lisa is another one of my certified mediums. Excellent medium. She lives down here, not far from me. My grandmother sends the smell of Christmas trees to let me know she is here. And that's a familiar scent. So her grandmother sends her Christmas tree smells. My lilacs. I love them both. So do I believe in purgatory? I believe in personal responsibility. I think sometimes I feel like people that seem to suffer a lot here, maybe their suffering will be less on the other side, as far as if they did something that they regretted doing. Um, but as far as going on the other side, you know, when we pass over and being in a place like a holding tank, no, I don't believe in that. Just like I never believed in limbo. And lo and behold, they say now there is no limbo, you know, but, you know, changes, it's all. I just believe when the physical body no longer serves us, we step out of the physical body, the soul steps out of the physical body, looks exactly as we look now, because both bodies are gifts from God. That's how we recognize each other on the other side. We're not little blobs. You know, some people think, you know, your soul is a little blob that floats around on the other side. No, we just step out of the physical body, begin our lives right here. We're right here. And that's what I'll say to people. Put your arm out. That's where your loved ones are. It's just another dimension of here. So, you know, I believe that's where we go. I believe we have the life review. I believe that everybody eventually does forgive themselves, because I believe we are all children of God. So, I believe that God encompasses both male and female, mother, father. That's why many people will pray, dear, Father, Mother, God. Um, so I believe this God encompasses all. And since we are children of this divine being, then, we're all children of God. Then I believe that the soul is pure. The soul is pure, always pure. It's the physical body, the physical body. Um, that we make these choices with the physical body. And we have to regret what our words and actions did while we were here. But the soul, I believe, is always pure. So it's personal responsibility. So no, I guess I don't believe in purgatory unless purgatory, you know, is fully understanding your words and actions on the other side. I guess that could be a type of purgatory, but as far as going to a holding room, no, I don't believe in that. Cindy says she always communicates with her loved ones in her dreams, and that's beautiful, and many people do. Let me tell you the difference between a dream and a true visitation. If you dream about a loved one in spirit, okay, and you wake up and you remember that you dreamt about that person, as soon as you open your eyes, you remember, that's a true visitation. That meant that you were actually with that person. Now, what actually happened with that person, you will not remember, because when the soul went back into the body, the left brain woke up. So you will not remember exactly what happened. All you will know is that you were with your loved ones, and that should be enough. Okay. But if you have a dream about a loved one and you don't remember it, but as the day goes on, you remember it, that's just a dream. That's just a dream. That's the difference between a dream and a true visitation. Liz wants to know, can a high pitched sound in one ear possibly be spirit? Yeah, I talked about that just when we opened this session tonight. I have tinnitus from a child, and I notice when I do my readings or right before when energy starts to step in. Like right now, it's very very loud for me because I'm talking about this. So for me, the veil is becoming thinner. That's the way it works. So I have very loud pitch sound, like a screaming sound in each ear. And when I go to bed at night, I never sleep with the TV off. I have to keep the TV on because for me to be in a silent room completely, the sound is so loud. And I deal with it. Like I come into this room when I meditate sometimes to be by myself at night, no lights, no candle, because I like blackness. I like total darkness because that's really the power of God. Black is beautiful for me and should be for everybody because that's God energy, the darkness. And that's when you need God the most in the dark times in life. So that makes sense to me. So certainly that high pitched sound can be spirit. Yep. And that would be a good time to go find a nice comfortable chair, quiet room, no pets around to disturb you, nothing on, nothing in your peripheral vision to distract you, and just sit quietly and center yourself and maybe do a little meditation and ask, who's around. Denise writes, absolutely. I know that my dog Molly sees my mother. When Molly sees her, I make sure to talk to my mom. That's great. That's absolutely what you should be doing. Kathy asks, what if you hear your name being called? For instance, one time a male voice said my name as if it was right in my ear. Yet there was a window from the voice came from. I also feel if something is going to happen, like a gut feeling, it actually happens. What is that? Well, your gut feeling is that's the clear sentient. A lot of parents have that. I had that. I have 3 sons, and let me tell you, they gave me a run for my money. Um, and I would just feel it. I would just feel it. I'd say, nope, something's not right. I don't think he went where he said he was going to go. Or, that's the gut feeling, especially for parents. Parents out there know exactly what I'm talking about. But some people, when they do this work, everything is through clairsentient. And that's one thing I strive to tell my students. A lot of people will say, oh, I want to see and hear like you do. I want to be clairvoyant and clairaudient. And I always say to them, these are God-given gifts. And usually out of the 5 senses, 2 of them are the strongest. You have 2 strong senses, and you have to find out when it comes to connecting with spirit, especially, and you have to determine what those 2 senses are. For me, it's clairvoyant, clairaudient. And when people say to me, well, I feel things or I know things, but I want to see, I want to hear. And I'll say to them, don't disregard the gifts that you have. You know, I know one medium in particular that does everything through taste, and I've seen her work, and she's amazing. And it's like crazy. And even though I tell people don't question, when the reading was over and we were alone together, I said, oh my God, how did you do that? And she sat there and she said, I'm tasting a red Corvette. And the woman said, my son died in a red Corvette. And she said, and I'm tasting, it's Germany. I'm tasting Germany. And here he was a German translator at the UN. So, I mean, I tell people, learn what your gifts and abilities are. That's number one. When you're taking classes, learn what your gifts and abilities are, and then learn to improve them, you know, enhance them, and certainly embrace them. That doesn't mean as time goes on that other clairs won't open up. Doesn't mean that, you know, someday you will see, you know. And when you start to see, you know, when I say I see spirit, I don't actually see with my own eyes. Once in a while I do, like if I'm doing larger galleries, I'll see, for organization purposes for me, because I'm a very organized medium. So for me, I always taught my students left side is father's side, right side is mother's side. So if I'm doing a gallery of a lot of people, say there's 100 people in the room, okay? So when spirit starts to step in and I see them go to the left side, I'm able to say, oh, a mother just stood by you, or a father just went and stood by you, or a grandmother stood by you, or a brother stood behind you, or a sister stood. I'm able to do that because of my organization and because of the way I work with spirit, because I work with spirit guides as well, which will help with that placement. And certainly loved ones in spirit who are coming to connect with people who come to me for a reading, they know enough to work with me too, and how I work. So it's really amazing once you start to study this, but there's so much to it. There's so much to it. You know, when people say to me, oh, you know, I'm going to be a medium, and, you know, it's not going to happen overnight. When people ask me, how long does it take to be a medium? I'll say to them, well, it depends on how passionate you are about it. You know, if you're truly passionate and you want to succeed, then you're going to meditate every day if you can. You know, you're going to do practice readings. You're going to belong to part of a circle group where you can practice. You're going to take classes. You're going to do everything you can to strengthen your connection to God and spirit, and your prayer life is going to be strong, and your meditation life is going to be strong. So it all depends. If you're really, really passionate about it, then you can really excel in this, you know. And like I'd say within a year and a half, you could really be working on a professional level. But then there's some people who, you know, they'll come and then I don't see them for 6 months, and then they come, and then they'll come back in 2 months, and they'll come, you know, for 4 or 5 years. It goes on. So they're connecting, but not to the ability that they can, because they're not that passionate about it. So it's really all up to you. It's really up to you. But every single person has the ability to do this, to connect with spirit. Danielle said, Danielle Capelli. Danielle's one of the people that we talked about. She was so passionate. She was so passionate. She actually came to me, and I don't think Danielle will mind me sharing this, but she came to me. She was so close to her grandparents as I was, and she feared the time when her grandparents would pass because she was so close to them, and she had this ability inside of her. And she started in my classes, and she was like a sponge. She just soaked everything in. She came every week faithfully. She took every class, and she just flew. And she is, and I always say, and I say this to everybody, Danielle, I just said it to somebody at the center when I was doing a reading the other night. I mentioned you because crystal children came up, which Danielle specializes in crystal and indigo. But I said that you are one of my strongest mediums that I ever put out. But being scared of the dark, that's funny, because I know a very well-known medium who I spoke to about that too, and they don't want to see spirit. They just don't want to see it. But I tell mediums, you don't ever have to be afraid that you'll see them, because it's not that easy to see them. You can't one day say, hey, Grandpa, show yourself. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And anybody who studies this work comes to understand that. So, but that's funny. Still scared of the dark. Denise Patricia. I had a visitation from my sister who died 35 years ago. It was lovely, and I hope it happens again. I miss her every day. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, Denise. Well, again, if you go into private meditation, that one I mentioned, guided visual meditation to meet with a loved one in spirit. It's right on YouTube. Just type that in, guided visual meditation to meet with a loved one in spirit. Just remember that when your sister steps in, you set the intention. What you do when you meditate is you keep a journal in your lap, okay, with a pen, and you put it down. And then you go into meditation. You set the intention before you go into meditation. And you write in your journal, if there's a specific question or something you want to know, you write that in your journal, okay? And then you say, I would like my sister to step in. If you want specific information from your sister, you write the questions down. If you don't have any specific questions, then you just let her bring to you what you want. But you set the intention that you want her to step in. Once, then you go through the meditation. And during the meditation, a voice will say, now a loved one from spirit will step in. That's when your sister will step in. When she steps in, you can't speak to her. Because if you communicate, words come from the left brain. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be opening up that left brain. And you don't want to do that. You want to remain open and connected, clear, open connection to spirit, to your sister. So you have, that's why I say if there's something specific you want to know, write it in the journal before. And then when the meditation is done, you write down the answers. You write down what you receive. Okay, so sometimes people say to me, oh, I go into meditation and I talk to my mother for an hour. No, you didn't. Your left brain, it was all your own thoughts. It was all your own left brain. So that's really important, that when you're in private meditation, specifically to connect with someone in spirit, you're there to listen. You're not there to speak. Even a simple word like, oh, I miss you, or hello, wakes up that left brain. Okay, so that's really important. So I'm sure your sister would be happy to visit with you during meditation, Denise. Oh, thank you, Danielle. Love you and miss you. Kate asks, is there a point in time that a particular spirit will no longer come back to communicate? I was so close with grandfather who passed and can't feel him when I try to communicate with him. Again, that has to do with the left brain. Sometimes, you know, a lot of time people are in such grief that they, or want so desperately to hear from somebody that they can actually block themselves. So, you know, all that is, Kate, is just practice. Again, meditation. You know, just be consistent with your meditation. Set the intention every night, every night, every night. The hardest part about doing this work is trusting and believing that we're really communicating with God and spirit, and we really are. And the way you can prove it is by bringing in evidence. And what starts to happen, what begins to happen as you meditate every day, every day, every day, is all of a sudden you start to get little things in that you don't quite understand, or you'll hear a name, or you'll hear a place, or they'll give you a date. And lo and behold, maybe later that day you'll talk to a friend and you'll say to the friend, gee, I meditated today and I got blah, 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 blah. And the friend will say, oh my God, I know exactly what that is. That was for me. You see, so you know, evidence is the only way. That's why evidential mediumship is the only way to go. Because I'm telling you, the charlatans out there, when people say to me, is this one credible? Is that one credible? And I don't like to talk against any of my colleagues or any people out there doing this work. But here comes the but. You know, we live in a very technological age. So you can go on the internet and you can type in a last name or track a phone number. You can pull up one obituary, and the charlatans can do 10 readings off one obituary. So wealth of information. So when people say to me, oh, is that this one credible? Is that one credible? I don't know. You know, I don't know whether they looked on the internet before they met with this person. You know, I don't know. I really don't know. So the only way would be information that can't be found on the internet. Okay. Sometimes crazy stuff will come through. Sometimes things will come through that I'll think to myself, how am I going to say this? This is ridiculous. How am I going to say this? But I've learned through my lifetime to say what spirit gives me. So I say what they give me, and it never fails. Never fails. Kathleen, we are met by loved ones when we are passing. Does that happen with pets? Does a family member cross a pet over? You know, that's a very good question, Kathleen. That's a very good question. I really would believe that they do. You know, I know that loved ones will come for people here as they're passing. I know this from doing this work myself and from being with so many children and adults that have passed into the world of spirit. But as far as an animal, since they have souls, I would say that it works the exact same way. I do know that animals will sometimes come first before I do a reading. And when the person comes, I will say, do you understand a standard poodle? Do you understand a bulldog? Do you understand this? Do you understand that? And they'll say, oh my God, yes, and that's it. And it's funny because I did a reading here yesterday, um, and the reading was over, and they were very pleased, thank God, the spirit. But she asked about her dog. She was in terrible grief because she had just lost her pet, her beloved pet, which was like a child to her and her husband. And I had to be honest, you know, I just wasn't feeling it. But as we talked about it, I think a number of other pets, and I said a number, I believe, of how many actual dogs were on the other side, and I think a couple cats came through as well. But it just didn't happen that the pet did come in, but yet there are many readings where pets do come in. So I would say that absolutely. I don't think anyone with a soul. We all have souls cross from one dimension into the other without being greeted. I know being at the deathbed of so many people, especially with children, that they see before they pass. They'll call out a name, or they'll see or describe somebody, or have a conversation with someone, and of course nobody else will see it or hear it. um, so I know that before we pass, someone always comes for us. And see, Kathleen says, I keep asking my sister to meet my pup when it's her time. I'm sure she will, because you're setting the intention. Again, remember, in dealing with the metaphysical world, it's all by intention. It's all by intention. And intention is faith. Intention is faith. Let me see, I'm getting some text here. Okay. Our loved ones around more on the holidays. I don't think they're around more on the holidays. They're around when we need them to be around. Um, you know, I don't mean to sound harsh, but when people say to me, does my loved one miss me? No, they really don't. They don't have to miss you, because they can pull their energy in and step into your dimension whenever you need them to. They understand when we pass into the world of spirit, it's like a light bulb goes off, and we get it. We understand that we lived our journey. Our journey here was done. Now we're home. This is our true home in the next dimension, in heaven, not where we are here. Not where we are here. Okay. So we understand that. We get it. We get it. So they don't have those feelings. They also understand that they don't have a right to impede on someone else's journey. We don't have a right to impede on someone else's journey. This is their journey. This is my journey. This is your journey. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a book inside them. Everybody goes through stuff in life. Everybody does. Some people just handle it a little differently. Um, but um, certainly I believe that we all have a purpose here, and we all have a journey, and that our loved ones can be with us whenever we need them to. So as far as just holidays, maybe they're around more on holidays, or you feel their presence more on holidays because we're missing them more. I still miss my grandparents. My grandparents every Christmas would give me a fluffy pair of slippers. That's all I got from them every Christmas. No big extravagant gifts, just a fluffy pair of slippers. I said to my husband this past Christmas, I would give anything to find a box with those fluffy pair of slippers underneath my Christmas tree, because it meant so much to me. So I was missing them. I was remembering. So, you remember those. It's very bittersweet, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful to have these memories, but you miss them. We miss their physical presence. We know, and I'm sure all of you know and believe, that our loved ones are in a beautiful place. They're fine. They're where they want to be. They're where they're supposed to be. They're not suffering. They're happy. They're living a wonderful life on the other side. But we miss the physical presence. We miss the physical presence. And that's a very normal thing. That's a very normal thing. Okay, did I miss any questions? Okay. Okay. Do I believe In haunted houses. No, I do not believe in haunted houses. I do not. I do not believe in haunted houses. I do not believe that anybody who passes to the beautiful other side would want to come back and haunt a house or stay in a house because they liked it. It's a physical thing. It's a physical thing. They have no desire to worry or miss a physical thing that they had here on the earth plane while they were here. I do not believe that. I believe that when the soul steps out of the body, we begin our lives in our eternal home on the other side. Some choose to come back for a higher purpose, like I discussed before, but I believe that's home, and we recognize it as home, and we do not want to come back. But if our loved ones here are missing us or thinking about us or grieving for us, then we will step in to be with them. And we will, I call it the wave. You know, sometimes you lost somebody you love, and you're going about your day, and all of a sudden you get this wave that comes over you and it just hits you. Oh my God, they're gone. You know, they're not here anymore, and we miss them terribly. And many will cry at that time. And I explain to them that wave is because your loved one just stepped in, and the energy is close to you. They're close to you, and you're not understanding that. That's why you have this feeling that comes over you. I call that the wave. Okay, so next time you get that feeling, you know, just find a quiet place to sit down, close your eyes, call your loved one in, and, you know, hopefully if you can find that space inside, a quiet space inside through meditation and prayer, you'll be able to connect with your loved one. Okay, let me see. Let's see if there's anything else. Hi, Sharon. I miss seeing you too. Some of my students from Pennsylvania. I miss everybody. Hi, Tamara. Tamara calls me Mama G. I miss you too, Tamara. Tamara is another one of my certified mediums who lost a child. She lost her son. He was 12 years old when he passed. And I had done a reading on Tamara, and she started coming to the center to study mediumship. And she too is one of the strongest mediums that have ever passed my way. Wonderful, outstanding medium. So she turned her loss into a way, into a mission to help others. Beautiful soul. Her name is Tamara Kulp. Wonderful medium. Kulp. Carol. Oh my goodness, it's been forever. Nice to hear from you. Many of the spirits I see daily around my home, I don't recognize. They just appear. They are not menacing. Can they be my guides? And as one of my students, what would I say to you, Carol? I would say the way to find that out is to go into quiet meditation yourself and ask, okay, with a journal, write your question down. Who are these people? You know, I have formed relationships with my 5 main guides in spirit. And that book I mentioned last week, So You Want to Be a Medium, written by my friend and colleague Rose Vanden Enden, that's an excellent book, explains all about spirit guides. So I think, Carol, you need to, you know, meditate a little bit and find out for yourself. But I miss you. It's good to hear from you. Carol used to come to my center in the Poconos, and then she moved to Florida. I think that's where she is, in Florida. Love you too. Love you too, Tamara. So, okay, that's about it, folks. So just a reminder, my website is griefmedium.org. I don't have any room. I get a lot of emails that, you know, people are trying to connect with me on Facebook, my main Facebook, which is Gloria Weichand, I think it is. But I'm at my 5,000. So I have many people that want to be my friend. So I'm telling people to go to Gloria Weichand Spirit Medium. Okay, Gloria Weichand Spirit Medium or Spiritual Medium. I think it's Gloria Weichand Spiritual Medium, and join that. Okay, and I put everything there that I put on the other one as well. I also have another, I have quite a few Facebooks. I have one, Medium's View. The Medium's View is another one. Voices by the Sea is another. So there's a lot of them. But Gloria Weichand, Spiritual Medium, is the one that you should join. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Prayers for a good week. Good week. Everybody try to meditate. Okay, love you all. And as always, I leave you in God's love and light. Bye.